Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM19 story, The Head Coach with me, Daniel. It's Season 6, Episode 4, and today we play our final game before the January transfer window opens and Dougie Freedman potentially changes our side. We play the leaders Leicester, so it's not an easy game, but we're still there with an outside chance of a playoff push, so we've got to put everything into winning the game. We've not been scoring goals galore, we have dried up a little bit in front of goal, but we've still got a brilliant defensive record, now the third best in the league after over half a season, and we really look in good shape going into the second half of the campaign. So we're going to have a quick game today, and then we're going to discuss who might be leaving during the window. Obviously we can't decide who because that's up to Dougie, but we can guess based on players that are unhappy, who have come to us complaining about a lack of football, and those who are towards the end of their contract. So let's go and look at our results since the last episode, and then we'll get straight into the game. Interestingly, the Championship leaders Leicester are being managed by current England manager in real life, Gareth Southgate. I'm not sure what's happened to him there. It says he left as England manager in 2016, which can't be right. So let's go and have a look at the history to see what really happened. He left in December 2022, resigned from the role, and now Lee Johnson, the Bristol City manager in real life, has taken charge and has one cup win apparently. He won the European International League, something that Southgate will be hoping to do in real life in the summer. So that's an interesting turn of events there, and now he's managing against us in the second tier of English football. But back on topic, let's look at the recent results. You were with me when we lost 1-0 away from home against Ipswich. A really disappointing last minute concession, but you can see since we don't concede more than a goal a game. In fact, the last time we did so was in September, so it bodes so well for us that we can compete defensively. We followed up with a 1-0 win at home to Preston. Steve Cook again getting a goal, one of our top scorers at the club. I think he's second after Woodrow, so he's really been a good contributor from set pieces and the like. We then won 2-0 away against Villa, arguably our most polished performance of the season so far, against a really good side on the road. Wasn't like the Peterborough one where we were playing a poor team. This one we weren't expected to win. Steve Cook scored again, and Niall Goodwin, the homegrown youngster, with another goal for us in a crucial game. We then drew 1-1 away at Millwall. Locatelli opened the scoring for them. Don't forget they're rich and owned by a tycoon in this series, and had already had a season in the Premier League prior to last year. Warren Potts equalised off the bench as we got another point on the road. We then got a disappointing 1-0 defeat at home to mid-table Reading. Unfortunately, we just weren't at it in that one and didn't look like scoring in front of goal. We were a few players short in that game as well. We'd lost the likes of Scully in holding midfield, and most importantly, we didn't have Corley Woodrow either. However, we have had back-to-back wins since, both at home by 2-1. We beat Brentford 2-1 with Thiam getting both of the goals, coming back in on the left wing due to an unfortunate injury we'll talk about in the moment. And then at home to West Brom on Boxing Day, we also won 2-1. Alex Jackson scored a 92nd minute winner, and I don't know if this will work, but I've got to go in and show you the goal because it was an absolute brilliant one. We talked about the long range strikes, which have been a bit frustrating and unrealistic in this one, and although this one probably was as well, it was great to see a homegrown youngster, a centre half, turn up. Here we go in the second minute of stoppage time, headed away out the box, touchdown, volleyed into the top corner, and Alex Jackson becomes a hero, having come on out of position at left back. It isn't going to earn him a start today, even though we are a little bit short on the left side of the fence, and in fact the left side of the team in general. You can see from our team news, Lloyd Kelly's got a knock again. He came back, played an under-23 game, and then got an injury in that one. And Adam Lewis, the star we talked about in the last episode, 4 to 5 months out with a damaged Achilles tendon, and unfortunately that's probably the end of his season, and maybe even the end of his success at Barnsley, because he's already starting to decline physically. He'd already contributed 6 assists and a goal, so it's going to be a little bit tricky without him, but hopefully Thiam can step up to the plate, and Adam Reach will get another chance as well. So let's go and have a look at the lineup for today. It's going to be important that we stay tight at home to a side that are expected to win the league, and obviously managed by a former England manager as well, so we do need to be a little bit careful, but we're not going to try and give away our attacking threat entirely. We'll see who's favourites for the game. Of course it's Leicester, but only just, which shows how well we've been doing this year. We're just outside the playoffs by a couple of points, although as we've mentioned, we've got our tough run of games that we're in the midst of now, and we have lost the odd one or two during that period, so it does prove that it's a little bit more tricky. I am worried about the January window, but we'll talk a bit more about that after the game. In terms of team news, we've gone quite defensive. In recent games, we have brought in Tiam and Armstrong and played with attacking left and right wingers, so they've moved up to this role here. But unfortunately in this one, we just need to shut up shop. We've brought in Mowat again in place of Benica, who's not had the best run of form, and Mowat's just been brilliant since he's come in, so we have to give him a chance as well. But aside from that, it's a fairly familiar team. We've got Lumley in goal, Taylor and Collin are the fullbacks, with Lindsay and Cook in the middle, Scully's in holding midfield, Reach and Bakuna on the wide areas, and then Goodwin and Mowat in the middle, with Woodrow on his own, nice and isolated up front. He's got 7 goals this season, hopefully he can get one more today. So let's get into it and hope we can get a result. Any points are good points in this one. You can see Leicester are playing a much more attacking formation than us. They've got some really decent players in there. Robbie Brady's left back. Dennis Suarez, who's just gone to Arsenal, on the left wing. Maddison's still in there. Mason Mount. Fortunis is a good winger. And they've got John Guidetti up front. So plenty of big names, and we're going to have to do very well to contain them. Let's talk to the lads though. We keep getting told not to say anything, which is a little bit strange. We're going to tell them to make sure that we back up the pundits. Apparently they've been praising us, although obviously we don't see the TV studio after the game. It's Leicester with a kick-off in the first half, and Mount finds Maddison as they come forward early on. We'd imagine that Leicester are going to have quite a lot of possession. They've got a number of good technicians in there, and we've just got to make sure we can hold out and be strong at the back. Scully and Mowat playing some nice 1-2s, but it's cleared away, and now in the first minute we've won the ball back. Bakuna goes long over the top. Woodrow's in one-on-one. Slides it to the bottom corner. But Webb makes a brilliant save to tip it behind. And unfortunately the flag then goes up, belatedly at least, for an offside against Woodrow. 10 minutes gone though, and we've had a good opportunity during that time. We've got a free kick on the left, a quarter of the game gone now, not much happening. Taylor forces a save, and then Goodwin's quickest to react. The keeper probably shouldn't have spilled it, but Goodwin's charging in to get it into the bottom corner. And on the rebound, with the easiest of tap-ins, he goes outright second in our goal-scoring charts, with his 6th of the season from midfield. A brilliant effort by the youngster. I think he's still a teenager. Should we go and have a quick look? He's just turned 20, so he's 20 until February, and he's a fantastic pro. We do worry about losing him again in January, but that's a worry for next month. For today, we'll just enjoy his performance. Taylor has another free kick which goes just wide, and Webb will clear it for Leicester from the goal kick. Fortunis beats Taylor to it, not doing quite as well defensively, into Guidetti, who has a free header, but thankfully for us he put it comfortably over. 10 minutes to the break and we still lead 1-0. It's half time, a very dull half in terms of highlights. We just saw the one for Leicester early on, and then 2 free kicks from us followed by a last chance for Leicester. We lead 1-0 though, and that's the important thing. Something we haven't done this season really is play amazing football, but we've always managed to grind out results and be really solid at the back, which, as you've probably seen from my series so far, isn't like my sides at all. Winkler's told the lads to prove a point, so we've gone up and done that again. The team leaders are motivated, as is Niall Goodwin, and most of the lads seem happy with that. We go into the second half with the kick-off, and Goodwin's got the ball again to Mowat. Back to Scully. We're talking about goals. We have played entertaining football for the large parts. Any of my series on the channel, we like to play attacking football, but sometimes, as I said, the beauty of this save is that you just have to adapt to the team you're at. At this one, we haven't got lots of good strikers. We did have 2 up front, but one of them was sold. We've got another long throw, so we'll pause that conversation for a minute, reach back to Goodwin, and it deflects behind, but I think it was off his own man. So in this one, we've got wide midfielders who can't play as attacking wingers. As Reach misses a rebound into Woodrow, we've gone 2-0 up. We'll pause it again. What a goal that is. We'll come back to the goals in a moment, but we've got 2 in a game this time, so they can't say it's not entertaining this time out. We are just isolating the one up front because the wingers we've got are natural on the wider midfield and can't play in those attacking roles. Obviously, we've got those options on the bench and do play them occasionally, but when we're winning games like this, what more can you do? You can't change the team. We just have to accept we're a solid defensive side. 15 to go, let's make a sub or 2 then. Mowat's a little bit tired, so he'll come off. We can bring Benica on, who's the normal first choice. The 2 wingers will come off late on likely, but we don't want to do that just yet. So let's get back into it, and we'll give it another 5 or 10 minutes. Right, 5 to go. We've seen no more highlights. We're going to pause it and go to our tactics screen. I'm trying to get these 2 youngsters a bit of football, so Reach and Bakuna will come off towards the end, but because we're 2-0 up, We don't need to get more expansive with our shape, and the wingers on the bench aren't quite as good in those wide midfield roles. So we're going to switch Colin with Jackson, and we're going to switch Taylor with Burton. They'll go in as fullbacks on defensive duties, just to make sure we've got four at the back to see the game out. So we'll change those two over, and then in midfield, the likes of Colin and Taylor, they can go as defensive wingers on support, and that'll just help us see out the game with two solid banks of four, or in fact a five for us in between. That leaves just Woodrow up front, but we're getting two young lads experience. All three of the homegrown prospects in the squad are on the 11 now. They're on the pitch and they're enjoying their football. Let's see if we can hold on. It could look disastrous if we don't do it. Guidetti's coming forward for Leicester now. Cook with a brilliant tackle. Fortunis shoots just wide and we see that one out easily. Cook's been a revelation this season. Getting a big experienced centre-half in's really worked, and we have to praise Dougie Freedman for that because we had a really young defence last year. We absolutely slated him when he sold Josh Pask and didn't bring anyone better in, but he obviously knew what he was doing and he's proven to be right now. So Lumley with the long kick over the top. It's gone towards the left back for Leicester. We've not got the wingers far enough advanced to put pressure on now, but it's just about us seeing up the game. With 30 seconds to go, they've gone all the way back to their keeper, and it means they're definitely not going to score 2 goals now. We'd love to keep the clean sheet, but don't forget this Leicester side are running away with it at the top. They're miles clear of the rest, and as they put it in the net with Robbie Brady, he was already miles offside. A fantastic performance from us at home, a full house watching the league leaders, and we've just absolutely dominated them. A wonderful performance. The shot count was level, as was the possession, but nearly all the clear-cut chances fell to us. Let's go and talk to the lads. Winkler's spot on today. We need to tell them they were excellent. We're very pleased with the result and performance, and hopefully the media will be just as complimentary of what we've done. Quality finishing's the difference. Goodwin pouncing on a rebound. Woodrow goal hanging in the box and scoring a good goal. He had a goal drought before that apparently. 8 hours isn't big. That's 5 or 6 games. The way we play, that's quite easy to do. We're still 7th place in the league. Let's go and have a look at what the difference in points is though. We've gone level with Villa, who are in 6th, and just 2 points behind Derby in 5th. The reason I don't include Villa so much is because they've got a game in hand on the rest of us. They're playing mid-table Sheffield United, so hopefully they won't be able to get the points in that one. Perhaps more importantly, there's only 5 points separating us with 2nd place now, though I think with the squad we've got and the lack of consistency, that's probably pushing it a bit. If we had a real goal scorer up front, I might change my tune on that one, but 7 or 8 goals from our number 1 striker just isn't quite enough to compete at the top. Dougie's got a big January window ahead of him though. If we go and look at the transfer screen, you can see we've got 5.5 million left, as well as 25,000 in the wage budget. We're going to go and look at some of these fees as well. Victor Adebayo, we're due 1.2 million if he makes another 47 appearances. I think he had a big long injury, so we can't guarantee him doing that. So I'm going to take the bold move of selling the clause, nearly 900,000, and hopefully that will help him in the window as well. Josh Pask, another 32 appearances and we get 70,000. It looks like he's playing first choice, so we're not going to sell that one out, and it's not worth much money either. There's a couple we could buy out in terms of the outgoings, although with Colin and Taylor, they're both experienced and we don't know that they'll be playing long term. So I don't really want to commit to those ones, and it may just mean we lose out on 100 grand. If we go to the squad so we can try and second guess Dougie Freedman in January, as I go along this, give me your thoughts in the comments. What do you think he's going to do? There's no right or wrong answer. We're all just making assumptions. Bakuna and Tiam are both unhappy. That's because largely Armstrong and Lewis before he was injured were our first choices. So as a result, they haven't played as many games as they'd like. Bakuna's playing a lot now, and Tiam's coming off the bench quite frequently. So I wouldn't be surprised if they stayed, but if we get big offers for players worth a lot of money, they'll probably go. Tiam's worth £4.5 million, and Bakuna, he's worth 5.5. So I tell you what, if he can replace those players with better quality for the same price, we'd be very happy. Balotelli's been a bit of a flop up front, a lot of injury problems unfortunately, and he keeps supporting players when they revolt. So hopefully Dougie Freedman will count his losses and let him go. We'll forgive him because he's made plenty of brilliant signings. It's just one of the ones he spent a bit of money on, unfortunately hasn't paid off. In terms of contracts, if we go and have a look at that, just to see who's expiring at the end of the season, obviously Dougie's in charge of that as well. Balotelli's just on this 1-year deal, so he could actually discuss terms with other clubs. And then Ryan Allsop, our backup keeper, I'm not too worried about that one, because if there's no interest in them, the director of football's normally just give them a contract with a month or 2 to go, unless they found someone better in the market. Aside from that, only the loan players expire this year, so hopefully we'll get decent money for anyone who wants to go. The only one who's wanted at the moment, aside from the big hitters, is Jordi van der Berge, and that's on loan, so I'm not sure if he'll go out or not. That's up to Dougie, but he's a good squad player, so we don't mind if he stays here. Noel Goodwin, despite having a 4-year deal, is only worth £600,000. Probably a good thing because it means he won't be sold, but he's on £10,500 a week. He's a superstar player, a brilliant youngster who's developing well, and obviously he came through at the club and he's now made over 100 appearances. We'll have a quick look at what sides want him, because that could be a warning sign for us. It's Leeds United who are in the Premier League, but they're struggling against relegation, and I'm sure we can do better than that. Our captain Liam Lindsay's wanted as well. That's by Watford and Rangers. Whatever Dougie Freedman does, I really hope he doesn't sell them to Watford. Joe Lumley's wanted by Huddersfield, but again, are they really big steps up? I know it's Premier League football, but any of those sides could be in the Championship again next year. In the case of Watford for Lindsay, they're in this division already. But if we go and have a look at the schedule for when we might next be back, we'll try and play through all the January window. We've got an average Premier League side in Stoke away in the third round of the Cup, so I'm not going to worry showing you that. If we go into February and look at the games there, we've got Cardiff at the end of January. Where are they in the league? They're 15th. Then we've got Hull, QPR and Watford. Hull and QPR are in the bottom half, Watford are third, so it could be that one. Watford or Palace, who are directly below us. One of those two games will be the next one on camera. We'll reflect on all the January business by Dougie Freedman, and we'll show you a big game as hopefully we're still in the playoff push for the end of the season. But if you did enjoy this episode, please put a thumbs up on it. I'll finish on the competition screen so you can see where we sit in the league at the halfway point. Let me know in the comments what you think Dougie Freedman will do, and do you think we'll get in the playoffs this year? I still think we've got a little bit too small of a squad, but Dougie could produce some magic in January and give us a wonderful chance. We're probably just a goal scorer away, so we'll see if he can find one. Subscribe to the channel for daily FM19 content from my 2 long-term stories. This one, The Head Coach, where we're currently quite settled with Barnsley and aren't looking to move on anytime soon. And also my One Club series, Part of the Furniture with Torquay United, where we're trying to take them all the way from the Vanarama National League South up to the top of English and European football. There's also weekly content for my FIFA 19 lower league career with Crew Alexandra. The latest episode of that was out on Friday at 4:30. But a massive thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you next time, hopefully with a lot of transfer news.